Hi, I'm Peter. I am an MC, translator, and interpreter. I'm really passionate in enabling and improving the communication skills of everyone, and I'm also very interested in personal growth related topics.
So going forward, right? So we have talked about, for those who just joined in, this is leadership. So we have talked about Toastmasters. We have talked about being an introvert and how you make that transition on the book Quiet by Susan Cain. And finally, how you actually managed to become a freelancer and adopting growth mindset at work. The next phase of your life is actually being an MC. How 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 did that happen? Are you being recommended by someone and you took on your first job and then you just got addicted to it?
It kind of goes that way because
Hmm.
I forgot how it actually began, but uh, to actually get into the business is actually not that hard because
Mm-hmm.
if you're willing to
Mm-hmm.
offer your labor for free, there are always avenues
Mm-hmm.
that would use your help. For example, your best friend's
Mm-hmm.
wedding. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if your best friend want to save cost on the MC, he can always take risks with
Mm-hmm.
you, even though I cannot guarantee what is the outcome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, or the less risky route, you have a lot of charity
Uh-huh.
bodies like Rotarex,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, um
Okay. JCI Lions, yeah.
SCI Lions. If you're
Mm.
willing to MC for free for their charity events, they are willing to have you around. And
Mm.
that is actually how I gained my experience at the early days. And until now, I'm still
Mhm.
doing it from time to time.
Ah.
Because one, it's always good to give back to the community with your own
Mhm.
skills. And
Mhm.
second, you also get to have more room to grow because they are
Mhm.
willing to give you the freedom to experiment with different way to host an event, to be actively helping out.
Mhm.
So it is that thinking and that approach that helps me to get into it. And at the same time, it's also a very fun way to help me to get out
Mhm.
and interact with people. Because the other job that I have was translations and
Mhm.
doing online interpretation. So a lot of time I would be working from home, and
Mhm.
the MC job itself is actually a good way. People are actually paying me to socialize with people, which is a great deal for me. Regardless how
Mhm.
much they pay me, they are paying me to have fun. That's
Mhm.
how I see it. So it's always good for me to get out there, talk to people. So
Mhm.
it, you would see a very extreme side of me. I can stay on whole day, 2, 3 days at home doing translations. Then by the end of the week, I could be talking to whole mall of customers, interact with them, having fun. So that actually gives uh, more spices and more fun in my life. I don't stick to
Mhm.
particular just one group of people. I can have different side and have fun, which I intend, which I choose to have this kind of life with intention. So that gives me more satisfaction actually.
A well planned out life, right? In between the two
Yes.
extremes of being a translator and being an MC. You have
Hmm.
mentioned a couple of days ago, you say that being a great MC is a rating. Perhaps you can share with us what is the criteria, in your opinion, that makes a good MC?
Right, that's I like that question.
Mhm.
Um, I might not be the best MC that I know of. I know
Mhm.
many other MCs that are doing
Mhm.
really well, and they are like the seniors that I learned from. But criteria of a good MC, I think the technical part aside, you need to have the passion for the job itself to actually engage with the crowd. If you're doing commercial events, you need to have the acknowledgement that if the interaction between you as MC would be the bridge
Mhm.
between the client's brand
Mhm.
and the potential
Mhm.
customers or audience. If you can
Mhm.
effectively carry out the interaction between a brand and their customers,
Mhm.
then it would
Mhm.
bring them a lot of business opportunities down the road. And if you have that level of commitment with you, regardless how challenging that particular MC job is, you'll be always having the drive to go through this whole process of doing the event with with your clients. Then you will definitely see the successful outcome at the very end. I believe that is very important.
Mhm.
Instead of just
Mhm.
seeing this job as only you speaking and people paying you. No, it's actually you can actually do much more than that, because in the current society that we have, like you said, it's a very noisy society
Mhm.
in terms of the level of information. It can be
Mhm.
suffocating, isn't it?
Yes,
So if you
very true.
can if you can stand from the point of view for the company that hires you to MC, you
Mhm.
do the extra mile of legwork, you do research, asking them what do you want to achieve at the very end of the
Mhm.
event, how do we
Mhm.
plan out the communication process, what do you want to emphasize to share with your customers. Then at the
Mhm.
very end of the day, you would be able to walk through together of this process with your clients. And I believe that's uh, more than ever, that's very important, rather than just thinking, oh,
Mhm.
how much am I going to charge this clients. I mean, of course getting paid is important, but how you see your own job is also very important. I think that's one of the criteria that people need to keep in mind if they want to pursue this path. Even if it's
Mhm.
for NGO, you can use that the opportunity to MC for NGO as a way to practice that process of preparing for the MC job. You can talk to the leading person of the organization. Okay, how's your charity organization going? What do you want to achieve in this particular event? And how can we uh, what would be a successful event for you? Can you tell me how do you imagine in mind what is a successful event for you? Then we can plan ahead. How can we actually help, so to speak, client? Even though they don't pay us, it's always take every opportunity to practice and become better. Because if this job is you're totally on your own, so if you do not have the drive to put in the effort to learn by yourself, to go further by yourself, then you might just get stuck at one point and doesn't move forward. Like
Mhm.
um, I have an example. There's a very competent MC called Adi. Some of you might know
Mhm.
him. So MC Adi is always someone that I look up to. He's very
Mhm.
proactive in his way in socializing with others. He
Mhm.
took his own initiative to pursue for MC jobs, and at the same time, he has the passion in acting. So he actively put in the effort and proactively approach people. So he actually got a role in a feature film a local feature film that I recently watched last year,
Mhm.
and his performance is actually quite well. So
Mm.
that kind of attitude is more important than ever especially in our current situation. Instead of just looking at qualifications alone.
It's the attitude that matters. I think a point that you have been driving from when you are working uh, in the restaurant to now
Mm-hmm.
being an MC is always having this attitude of going the extra mile from how you consult your clients on what is their imagined end result and objective. And you took every opportunity to practice, even if it is a non-profit, a non-paid job. Go out there proactively to meet people. And there is something that you say just now that is quite interesting, right? You say that in this line of job, you are on your own most of the time.
Correct.
So I would like to ask, do you have a mentor or a mentor figure when you are starting out in your translation or MC? If you have questions, who do you refer to get answers?
Mm, it it goes back to that attitude. There is always people out there
Mm-hmm.
that is already few years already in the industry, and
Mm-hmm.
social media is a good way to get in touch with them. As long as you're sincere and you are being polite, you can always get connected to them, and you pay attention on how they actually share about their work and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And from time to time, you can ask around. Okay, what are the little tricks? What would you advise me if I'm very new in emceeing? And if that MC is having events nearby your place, by all means, if it's a commercial and event at a public
Okay.
space, by all means,
Mm-hmm.
go to that shopping mall or go to that place, observe how they do it, and if that particular senior MC finishes job early, maybe you can offer, hey, can I buy you supper or can I buy you coffee? Then you sit down and you talk to that particular person. Okay, can I learn something from you?
Mm. Very good tips here for our viewers. And there is one thing about, okay, from our brother Azraful.
Mm-hmm.
He asked, how can I make a, how can I make my personality? How can I make a strong personality on social media?
Okay, the branding part, isn't it?
Yep, the branding part.
Strong presence on social media.
Mm.
I like that question. First is, I think you have to be very clear of yourself. You need to do some, and as an introvert, I would always
Mm.
suggest to look inside. What am I actually good at? And what is my passion? Some people, they are passionate in online games, and that is
Mm.
what they do 7 days a week. They would stream themselves when they're playing games. They are extremely passionate. They always talk about it. They mingle around in their community. So you need to go back to yourself to actually figure out what is my own interest or passion. It can be any,
Mm.
whether it's your own professional field. I have friends who's extremely passionate in HR training. I do have friends like that, and that is what they talk about all day, every time you meet them. So when you are able to have that level of focus and that level of passion, you'll be able to build a very solid presence on social media. So, like your own example, Terence, you're very passionate in how to improve people's performance especially how they conduct sales, how they achieve a better result, for corporates and for sales professionals. So if you talk about that long enough, day in, day out, week in and week out, slowly enough, people would able to have that perception. Okay, this particular person, he's good in that, and if there is any opportunity that comes across that might help this friend of mine, it's more likely for me to came across my mind. Okay, I want to help out. I would recommend this connection to my friend. I would let my friend know about this opportunity. And if you cannot get that acknowledgement of your own strength and passion, you'll be always struggling to, okay, I need to talk about something to build my presence on social media. Let me share another meme. Or let me share another cat video. Okay. Many people, I personally, I like consuming memes and cat videos. Yeah, I watch that quite a lot, but that's not what
many do.
It's fun thing to kill time, but that's not what helps you to build your personal presence on social media. You need to have very clear acknowledgement of your own strength, your own passion. Then you can plan ahead. It's actually quite easy to run your own Facebook page and to schedule your postings. You have tools like that can help you post materials on social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, so on and so forth. But you have to go back to what you're good at, your passion. Then you have to plan ahead. How much do I want to share with the world this week? Because if you stay focused in your area of strength, you'll be more alert of what's new, what's interesting, and what people should know. Then you can build your authority in that area. You can have many areas of interest, but you have to keep in mind it's a very noisy world full of information. So you want to stay focused to build a very strong brand, so that whatever opportunities that is in your area of strength, that will more likely come to you compared to, so to speak, your competitors. You need to always have that alertness and awareness in your mind.
Thank you, Peter. Actually, that's a great answer, because, like you mentioned, it's a very noisy world. How do we stand out in a noisy world? It's where our message is actually consistent, right? There is a clear message and there is a clear topic where we want to be an authority in, and we keep on hammering on that topic. We keep on speaking on that topic until people associate you with that topic. So when there is an opportunity that comes along, the first person that comes up in another person's mind will be you. You are the authority on the topic, hammering on that topic again and again. Yeah, that's actually a very good tip from our guest today, Peter. For those that just joined in, oh yes, okay. As Rocco say, thank you for the valuable suggestion, Peter.
I want to add on a little bit more on that. And to be able to be more precise on that, building your personal brand, define your own market. Whether you are working for someone or you are working for yourself, define as precisely as possible your target market or target audience, so to speak. Let's put let's use maybe the health regime, so to speak. People that runs gym, that came across my mind. If you're someone that is into fitness, all right, then you need to further narrow down your target audience. Do you want to cater to everyone that wants to go to gym, in case you want to run your gym in the future? Or you want to only cater to working professionals that is aware of the importance of staying fit and they want to have community with, and they want to build community with other working professionals at the same time. You see the difference? If you
Yep.
aim to everyone, or I just want to start a gym like any other gym, then most likely what will happen is that you'll ended up like any other gym. You'll be competing for price because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. The why is very important. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing, and you'll be ended up in a price war. But if you're very precise, I want to cater to this group of people or this demographic that has this specific of behavior. The more precise that you can target your audience in, the more solid your own. I like to use the word tribe. The people around you that is supportive of you, that acknowledges your value. You want to have that, because in our time like now, you don't want to be just another person in this industry. You want to be the person to go to. At the very least, if you cannot be number one, you want to be among the top 3. So you need to be very precise and aware of the target audience that you want to cater to. I want to be the top 3 to the gym goers that are working professionals, that are aware of the importance of staying fit, and they want to build a community with other gym rats. Okay, this is the people that I want to cater to. So I will go and focus and produce contents, marketing contents and efforts that will focus to this group of people, week in, week out, month in, month out. Then the chances of successing and building your own community is so much higher than another competitor that has no idea of what he or she is doing.
I think clarity actually matters.
Yes.
Because like what people have just said, if you don't know who you are selling to, you're basically selling to no one. And you want to be the top 3 guy in whatever topic or industry that you are in, even if you are unable to be the top dog, right? So we actually have a question from the audience. The question is, okay, let's read out a bit. This is from Jean. Jean says that thank you so much for the insightful and motivational sharing of so a quick question: how would you see yourself 5 years from now, and how would you recommend on setting future goals?
Oh, I like that question because I've been through that thinking process for a lot of time. So take out your paper and pen, everyone, or if you can open up another document on your computer, please do it. There are 2 ways of going around it. The conventional way, this question is always like what the interviewer of the HR department will ask you whenever you go for interview. To make a joke out of it, if I were to interview for a job and the HR officer asked me, how do you see yourself in 5 years' time from now? You can definitely say, I'm really passionate in being able to feed myself and not starving to death. I'm absolutely passionate in death. I'm absolutely passionate in not starving. Yeah. So please hire me. And like I said just now, there are 2 ways of looking at it. The conventional way is to, write it down and expecting things to happen as you want, as if you're in a lab, scientific lab. Okay, year 1, this is what I want to happen in 5th January on 3 p.m. of that day. I want that to happen. Yeah, and the second thing is on 17th of February, I want this to happen, and I want nothing other than that. But if 100 or 200 years ago, you can probably do that. When the industrial revolution just started, you can absolutely do that. People could have one single job for 40 years without any changes back then. Now it's hardly the case. Now it's, even if you plan for 5 years, you're not so sure that your boss will be around for the next 2 years. Let us just let that thought sink in your mind. Ask yourself the very hard question. Is your boss still going to be around and pay you for the next 3 years? There are high chances that your boss might not be around. Okay, running out of business, I don't know, being outcompeted by the competitors. So how do we go about it for planning of long terms? I would like to use the keyword, the key thinking of direction. See, there's a difference from point-to-point planning compared to what I propose, direction. What do I want to achieve in the next 3 years? I want everyone to think of that instead of what I want to precisely happen in the next 3 years. Think of it as accumulation of your skill set, your networks in the industry, your experience in the industry, your branding in this industry. You can come up with that, and what I want to advance in that direction in the next 3 years. So coming to have acknowledgement of your own strength and passion, like I shared before earlier on. And then you have to look at your external environment. What is the current situation going around me, outside of me? And where do I want to achieve? And then we try to find a balance in between. What is actually feasible for me to pursue in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? What do I want to accumulate? Then you can, of course, have plans along the way. What is your annual plan? What is your 2 year, 3 year plan? And at the same time, you have a very clear direction. I want to be learning these skills, this particular set of skills 3 years down the road. Okay, I plan that ahead. And even if I had to change jobs, even if I have to look for jobs again, even if I have to close down my own business in such a situation, I have a very clear direction of where I actually want to pursue. You have to write down in description, what is my direction down the road, 3 years down the road. Okay, I want to be, like the example I used just now, I want to be a gym owner that serves the community of working professionals, that wants to build communities with other working professionals that are equally health conscious. Then as long as it doesn't go outside of your direction, you can always come back. It's like a race car, It's like having an F1 race. Sometimes you would have some race cars that are getting stuck in the sand or in the grass patch. You would often see that happen. That happens all the time. But what the racers actually do next is equally crucial. They would stay calm, try to reroute back to the road, to the tarmac, and then they pursue with their race, regardless how many rankings they drop, because they are razor sharp on their direction. And I believe this methodology of thinking is essential to your survival, of everyone who is listening, for your career. Because if you don't adopt that, you would be constantly feeling frustrated. Okay, why does this company close again? Is it because of me who is bad luck? I caused the company to close down? Something wrong with my feng shui? I don't know, that could happen. Or, did I do something wrong? Did my boss do something wrong? Then you would start the whole process of frustration. The reason why so many working professionals are having the frustration is because they don't have direction, or they don't seek for direction in their career. That causes the frustration. So I hope that answers the question of planning for long term in career.
So yes, so Peter have mentioned about the nature of goal setting has changed because of how quickly things are changing. So it's rather impossible for us to be super precise on what are the events that we hope to happen, because it's very often that we have detour. It's very often that we are going to defy rate. Instead, we should set goals based on the direction that we want to go. What are the skill sets that we want to pick up on, so that no matter how much detours we have, we always go back to the same target that we are aiming for. So Adam is in. Hi, Adam. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next section of our sharing. We have a little bit more time.
Oh, before that, I want to add on a little bit more. I was asked the question of how the world would look like after 14th of April. Yeah, as if I'm some kind of fortune teller or what, I was asked that question. I might not be able to tell you precisely how the world would be like, but I would want everyone to have the realization. Because I'm a history geek myself, I like to research on how. Yeah, I like to research how civilization rise to power, how companies manage to achieve triumph, and as far as I'm concerned, the civilization of human has never been so interconnected. That's the first thing. So, and we have never seen any crises of this scale before. Never in the history of human. Right? This, I'm not sure if that is considered lucky or not. If you're a positive person, please look at it from the bright side. Yeah. So you need to have that realization that it's not party after 14th of April. It's the beginning of a new world. It's not like the planet is doomed or what, but the way how the world works. Because the rhythm and the order of how the world before this works is no longer legitimate in the new world that we will be in after 14th of April 2020. So you need to be constantly aware and be adventurous. If you happen to see little kids, how they are curious of exploring the world out there and being fearless to try out every little things, it's time to revisit that childhood memory of yours where you are being fearless, adventurous, and experimental. And yeah, that's the first thing, the realization that you need to have. And you need to take action based on that. Not the not the conventional way of how the world works. It's not party, but the beginning of a hard work. Years and years, perhaps decades of hard work. And the second thing we need to keep in mind is most of us here, our generation is probably going to stay around for quite long, despite the chaos in the world, because of the healthcare is improving. There are high chances that most of us would go all the way until 80, 90 years old. So you need to look at your life in phases. Different phase. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It's not just study, work, and retire. It's no longer that way. But phase 1, first 10 years of your careers, what do I want to focus on? The second 10 years, the third decade, so on and so forth. You can slow down in your pace, but you should never see it as I just retire and go out for sunshine every morning at my porch. that's probably not a productive way, because whether you like it or not, your savings your lifespan is probably gonna outlast your savings, your retirement savings. So if you need some motivations to work hard, there you go. Okay, that's what I want to add on.
So yeah, I think that is the idea that people should have, right? That this is definitely not a party. This is definitely not a holiday. And if for those viewers who are watching this, do know that the world after 14 April is going to be very different. In fact, right now at this moment, it has already changed. And it's going to be very different for many years to come. It's important for you to adapt, to take on new skill sets, to be proactive, because it's the survival of the fittest. And during transition, a lot of people who are not prepared, who are still taking it as a holiday or party, they are going to be having a very hard time and possibly wipe out. So, the usual sum it up question, right, Peter? If you were to go back in time, what would you do differently?
How long is that time?
Let's say if we are 10 years back in time, a young Peter, 10 years back, how would you do it differently?
Interesting question. I would say to have more patience, because I've been an impatient person, and sometimes you need time for things to boil to eventually develop and come to your favor. Just like fermenting wine, you need time. You cannot put grapes into a barrel this day and next month you just dig it out and you complain, why is there no wine? The younger version of myself is like that. So patience is that, and more importantly, patience with intention, knowing what we are waiting for, stay focused, and at the same time having the patience to wait for the fruits to grow. I think that's one of the things I would tell the younger self of mine. And perhaps I would, in the cases that we're in now, thinking ahead, I would say, to have plan B or C if your plan A doesn't work. I actually came across a book of that I would share with everyone afterwards. Plan A, plan B, plan C, that method of planning. So I would tell the younger self of mine to actually have that awareness to plan ahead. Yeah. So that is the two takeaway for everyone.
Thank you, Peter. So let me sum it up, right? This is like testimonial time. Okay, so from this interview, I believe you fellow viewers at home has been gaining a lot of gems. Although the question is the flow of the life career of Peter. That's how we chart out this whole interview, right? And we learn the mindset and the skill sets that Peter has picked up along the way. From being an introvert, from being someone who is reserved, but Peter has always had this growth mindset where he's always looking out for opportunities to learn, to grow. And that is how he transitioned from being an employee to a full-time MC, Kudo certified interpreter and translator. And he discovered something in Toastmasters that enabled him to practice. And he emphasized this: in order to get good at a craft, do not be too picky, even if it's a non-profit job. At the beginning, you should take it on just to hone your craft. And no matter what you're doing, Peter says that you should always pick a topic where you strive to be the authority in. Because in a world that is very noisy, if you are everything, you are nothing. So you have to choose one topic and to go deep and look up for other people that you look up to. And in Peter's case, he has a MC Hardy, right, that he looks up to. So go to their events and see how they perform. We talk about the book by Susan Cain, Quiet. In a world where introverts are being misunderstood and sometimes undervalued, the book actually stressed the contribution that introverts can bring to the table. And Jean asked the question of how do you set a goal, right? And Peter answers that in today's world, it's quite impossible for you to be so precise in what kind of events that you expect to happen. Because in 5 years' time, maybe even your boss is not around. So the way to set goals should be based on the direction that you want to hit to, the skill sets and the matching to your values and strength. That would be a better way on how you set the goals. Later on, the question would be a special sharing by Peter would be, what is the world like after 14 April? Let's share the same message that this is definitely not. This is definitely a preparation time. The world has already changed. Consumer behavior are going to change. It's going to be much harder going forward. Businesses, individuals, viewers at home that are watching this, you need to get ready to pick up new skills. You need to adapt fast. And now more than ever, the growth mindset that Peter has been hammering from the beginning is what you need to thrive in these times. So Peter, any last message to our viewers at home? Any last takeaway?
Wow. Any last takeaways? If you have any questions, from your friends or from the audience, we can definitely have another session if they have very specific questions. And to be adaptive is very important. Remember the keyword adaptive. And to have the courage to restart if you encounter setbacks. That is equally important, because complaining is definitely not getting you anywhere. So always focus on being adaptive down the road, because like Terence said just now, it's not going to be the same world again. Be adaptive and be open to new possibilities.
For those that just joined in, I would like to have a shout out to Jegu Maimun, a very early mentor of mine. Yes, because of your trust in me, that's actually give me a great leap forward to take me where am I today. So welcome Roy, welcome Adam, welcome Alan and Jackie. For those of you who missed out the earlier sections with Peter, right? This is quite a gem of an interview. You can always watch the rerun after this. And by next week, I should have this in touch up, higher quality definition video. And I'm going to repost and share it to you guys here. So with this, thank you, Peter, for joining us this evening. It has been an enlightening, very jam-packed with gems.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to share. And hopefully that helps our fellow friends.
Yep. So guys, get ready. It's going to be a whole new world. Once again, thank you, Peter. And I'm your host, Hugo Tan from DEFY Limits. Take care and good night.